Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Signals from the Batcave. I am Nok.
And I am Rah.
And we're going back to Gotham today. Yay, what are we up to? Episode 7?
Of season 2?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I don't have my notes, my bat notes here with me.
What the hell?
I know, right?
You're the one that saw... Yeah, anyway.
Well, I'm thrown because, as an update from last time we did this, the episodes are now available, but you have to wait a week in order to see them. So the new one has to air, and then the previous week's episode becomes live the next day without paying for it. So it's free the next day. So I'm a week behind. So my bat clock's thrown a little bit. So
I haven't watched this week's episode either.
So this one will be just up until tonight's the night.
Right.
Which was last week's episode. So that would have been the 13th of December. Because yesterday was the 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 9th?
No.
Last week's was the 9th.
Oh, yeah, the
November
9th. Yeah, that's what I said. Isn't that what I said?
No.
Oh,
You said
okay.
December 13th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Well, because I had December on my brain because, as a good segue, thanks a lot, Nok, December, Batman Ninja Turtles.
Yay!
Yeah.
I should probably get a hold of Jay and have him put that in my list too.
Yeah, man. Again, I don't know if this is like DC's thing, but whenever they do these special things, it seems like lately they get a shit ton of guest artists to work on it.
Right.
So there's going to be tons of guest covers drawn by folks, but it's done by a guy named Friendly. I think that's his name, and I'm not very familiar with his artwork, but it's good. It's damn good. So much so that I'm going to be all over that. So there you go. December 9th, I believe that comes out.
December 9th.
Yeah, I believe that's when the book drops.
Okay.
So we'll have another discussion when that hits, I'm sure. But back to Gotham.
But before that, Master Race comes out next Wednesday.
That is right. Master Race, DK3. Now, I'm a little tepid on that, only because DK2 tied things up kind of nicely, if I remember it correctly. So I'm not exactly sure where this one's gonna go, but I'll be getting that too.
I don't think Batman died at the end of this. Master Race, I have no idea, unless he's doing a Superman special where Batman goes against Superman Army of Superman, maybe. That
might be a super cool idea because he doesn't die at the end of Dark Knight Returns. Although it's implied that he's basically retiring, he doesn't die. But if for whatever reason, if the Master Race is the Superman Army, which in Dawn of Justice, there's a dream sequence where Bats has. I think it's a dream sequence. It's been described as that. Yeah, in the desert, where he goes against fanatical Superman troops who see him as like a messianic type leader.
Right.
So it's almost like a cult. That's kind of a weird tie-in, but it will be interesting to see. That's pretty cool speculation on your part, Doc.
I'm good at speculation. Doesn't always pan out, but I'm good at it.
Yeah. So that book will be coming next week. So next time we chat, we'll probably be discussing that too, because I think everybody in the group, aside from maybe Wave, is going to be picking that up.
Yeah, I'm probably going to, like always, pay double because I'll get the digital copy too.
Mm-hmm.
But I like donating money to comic book causes. And Frank Miller, he's not my favorite writer, but he's a good writer.
Well, yeah, I recently watched online, you get those like Facebook advertisements. Yeah. And I think one of them was like history of Batman. And it basically went from like the beginning, when he was like a black and white serial detective comics, and that TV show that happened, right up until to current days. And I was on board with just about every part, but really where it turned the corner for me was when, what was it? The first book. What was it called? Year One?
Yeah. Okay.
That when that dropped, it was like, and basically, yeah, Bats went a whole different direction. I think that's where it really sort of amped it up for me.
Okay.
So I mean, because I watched all the Adam West stuff, you know, and I have books where he's got, you know, like the blue costume with the yellow symbol, but like, man, when that hit, and it basically went the direction of like the where it is now, which a lot of folks attribute Nolan for keeping it that way, but when it went that direction, you know, I was really on board.
Where it really first turned around is right after the show ended. Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams got the book, and they took it back to nighttime. They stopped having him come through doors. They took it back to nighttime. He's not walking down the street with Commissioner Gordon anymore. And
well, yeah, I'm not saying that's where it happened officially in the timeline. I'm saying for me, as a marker in the history, that's where it happened for me.
My first introduction to Batman itself was Batman '89 with well, I'm blanking on names
Burton?
today. Yeah, Burton's '89 Batman.
Yeah.
That was my first real introduction to Batman. And after that, I had the toys and I read some of the comics. Back then I was really a Marvel kid.
Yeah.
Because of the wonderful art. I was all about the art back then. Really didn't care about the story, but I did have some DC books. I had the complete Death of Superman and Funeral for a Friend and Resurrection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a DC, Marvel kid back then.
Right.
I didn't really get into Batman itself until recently.
Yeah.
When I read The Killing Joke and Death in the Family, and then I got into the Snyder stuff, and that's where I kind of picked it up. And then I got into The Dark Knight Returns and Dark Knight Strikes Again, which really was not top shelf Miller stuff.
Right.
I really enjoyed Miller's Daredevil For It Again.
Right.
But the Dark Knight Strikes Again really kind of fell short for me.
Well, you know, I'm not saying they're great books.
No.
And his artwork, I'm not fond of it at all. The reason I'm picking up the book is to see where he's taking the story.
Yep.
But some of the stuff, like All-Star Batman and Robin, I thought that was a pretty cool sort of reboot telling of who this character is, and that was written by Frank Miller, drawn by Jim Lee. And that's an awesome series, as short-lived as it was. But yeah, and I'm not all on Frank Miller's stuff. I just want to see where he's going with it after this.
Mostly because everything's been very hush-hush about this book.
Yeah. I mean, Schneider's run on Batman Now is where I am, and it's a complete departure from everything you really know about Batman. I mean, he's poor. He doesn't know who he is. Someone else is being Batman.
Now this... I mean... The one that showed up on the park bench, he was a clone, wasn't he?
No, that was him.
It was him? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way they've explained the story, I mean, it's comic books, so they can do whatever, but, I mean, it's him. And he's everything that Batman isn't. He has no edge. He's, you know, very mellow, I guess. He's like an average Joe. I mean, all the things that made him different from your average Gothamite is gone. So now he's just an average guy. I don't know how they're going to bring him back. I mean, that's what they said they were going to do. It's scheduled to happen, I think, before the year's out. That's what the rumor says. But it's going to be freaking December in a month. So, and she's showing no signs or interest to do that. So I don't know how this is going to happen. It'll probably be like another, Batman Through Time, where it'll be an arc that starts probably in January through several books where he comes back around, which will really suck.
Right.
But, I mean, it's a different Batman now. So, well, speaking of different stuff, we can roll right into Gotham.
Yep. Because
that is a different play on the mythos, that's for sure.
Completely different. Well, not completely, because some of the characters are the same, but it's a different take.
Yeah.
On Gotham itself.
Yeah.
And how the characters interact with the living city of Gotham.
Yeah.
It took me a while. I really had to dig deep into my memory base to remember what happened last week, because there was only a couple of parts that stuck out for me, which I guess spoilers. If you haven't seen it, it's your own damn fault.
It's two freaking weeks old, guys. So mommy's little monster. That's the episode we're picking up on.
Right. Yeah. So the things that stuck out to me was Nigma burying
Miss Kringle.
Miss Kringle.
Right.
The hunter coming up, him having to kill the hunter.
Oh, that's Tonight's the Night. That's not Mommy's Little Monster. Mommy's Little Monster is when his two halves finally merge together into one. So he's no longer talking to his darker self. They're now one person.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That was Mommy's Little Monster 2 weeks ago.
So that's the one we're talking.
Last week, that's the one I'd like to start off because last week was Tonight's the Night.
Right. All right. So 2 weeks ago, the merging of the two entities, the insane Nigma and the half-sane Nigma, coming together. That was cool. Having the insane Nigma leave clues for, well, let's say the subconscious Nigma leaving clues for the conscious Nigma, and the hand in the
Ladyfingers vending machine.
Yeah, Ladyfingers vending machine. That was pretty cool.
I mean, it reminded me a lot of Fight Club between Tyler Durden and his alter ego, I should say.
Yeah, Durden was the alter ego.
Yeah, but Durden was really in the driver's seat for a lot of that movie. So I can't remember what his name was, but
Edward Norton's character.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that. And, what made that really good is because it was given that same sort of, I think, respect to the fact that they were two separate entities. I mean, you really saw that in that episode. I mean, Nigma had clues. He did riddles. But they were like garden variety, like, junior high riddles.
Kind of jokes.
Yeah. But the evil Nigma's riddles were like intricate.
Right.
And they had an edge to them. So having those two characters merge at the end of that was, I think, one of the more brilliantly shot and told episodes of this second season. And the other one escapes me, but it was on the last Signals from the Batcave that we did before, where the ending shot was Penguin sort of screaming that his mom had gotten taken after he had thrown the wine into the fire, and they did the silhouette of his very avian profile with the hair against the moonlight through the window, and he's just screaming this like primal scream of like rage. That was brilliantly shot and thrown together in that sequence. And in the end, where the two halves merge, and it's sort of like creeping up on good Nigma that this is something he's never going to escape, and they finally come together. And that was just so brilliantly put together that, I can tell that they could have done this very cheesily, but they've matured a great deal in the way they've told the story since season 1. And I mentioned that to Sam.
Yeah. I
texted him right away. I'm like, the storytelling has gotten much more sophisticated, and so has the way they visually presented it. We're not slinking around, with Kat anymore, although she does do a backflip somewhere in there. And we're not being so heavy-handed with, oh, I'm the Riddler, or I'm the Penguin.
When she broke into, when she went into the school, to talk to Bruce, she climbed over the wall, did a flip off the wall, and then did her cat-like crawl back up the wall when leaving.
Not saying that they're not ever going to do it, but it's not an every episode thing. I think they do it now more as a reference to
her
shit we've done.
Skills.
Yeah, her acrobatic skill, the fact that she's a kid, as opposed to just being, she's Catwoman in the future. It's like sort of an homage to that part,
and
which
really,
is stuff they've already established.
I think they stopped calling her Cat, too. I think they've been calling her Selena.
Yeah, you're right. I believe you are correct. The only people that referenced her, I think, as Cat was maybe Pepper.
Right, and Pepper kind of went by the wayside, too. I think she may have shown up in first or second episode of this season.
I think when Bruce went looking for Selena after Alfred smacked her.
Yeah.
He went looking, and I think he ran into Pepper, and then that was that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. She's gone. So that whole sequence with Mommy's Little Monster, and the whole way they kind of dealt with Penguin, and the way he was going to get revenge on Galvin, I think was pretty cool too. I mean, because that's very clever. Penguin hasn't really been flamboyantly clever.
Right.
But that was like very Penguin-esque, very comic book-esque to dress all his henchmen as him and march them down the street.
Yeah.
That was a cool campy thing that he did, but wasn't like crazy camp, you know.
Right.
You know, there was underlying insane humor, but not like, you know, pure slapstick humor in that. So
it's not Burgess Meredith going wah, 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 every 10 seconds.
And it's not, and not to throw this in, you know, in Wave's face. It's not Coulson as I think Inferno is his name, is throwing fireballs at him, cracking some joke about, is it hot in here or something?
Right. From
that episode of season 1 of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I know Wave loves that kind of stuff, but I think that stuff is kind of dumb. As long as the humor makes sense and it's not Benny Hill slap you over the head humor, I can deal with it.
Right.
And having a street full of penguins marching down with shotguns is funny, but it's also very practical and probably a very real tactic.
It was very Penguin-esque because it was very tactical.
Yeah.
Because while the army of Penguin, not to confuse it with Batman Returns, but when the army of people dressed up like penguins are marching down the street, he came in the back door.
Right.
To surprise them. So while they were focused on the army coming towards them, they didn't realize that the actual penguin was coming up behind them.
Right.
They figured it out, and he lost his opportunity and wound up getting shot in the meantime.
Right.
But it was the beginning of his tactical plan.
Right. And that rolls us right into Tonight is the Night, which is last week's episode, which would have been the 9th.
I lost count.
The 9th. It would have been the 9th because yesterday was the 16th, so it would have been the 9th. So Tonight's the Night is sort of like we don't see anything in the Penguin after getting shot and missing his chance at Galvin. It's basically Galvin's machinations to get Bruce's company from him, and Barbara being used as a distraction for Gordon.
That was very well done. I enjoyed seeing Barbara King kind of
have more lines than just like sidekick type lines.
Sidekick, background character. I mean, she's not the pretty face and the slinky outfit in the background. This episode, she was actually in the forefront, going after Gordon, which I enjoyed a lot. It was very well done.
And I think it really lends itself to this notion that Gotham, with all its problems, I think is very well cast. I mean, everybody really fills the roles as they were casting them. They may have not gotten good lines, and the stories might have been shite, but you know what? They act the hell out of them. And she was given a bunch of lines for Tonight's the Night, and she really, I think, knocked it out of the park. The only thing I didn't like about the episode was when she fell from, and then spoilers again, but it's been a week, so watch it, you douchebags. When she falls from the church window, they really should have just killed her. She should have gone out on a high as opposed to being again sort of like she can come up again at the same time. I realize that's sort of the revolving door of Gotham, but we haven't really established that Arkham is like a place where criminals go in and then they go out. They go in and they go out.
Arkham has a revolving door.
Yes.
It's common knowledge that Arkham itself, you go in...
But not in this time.
No.
Not in this time. That hasn't been established yet, I think
Arkham
that...
has Arkham... Yeah, Arkham Asylum has been established.
Yeah, but
because that's where everybody got broken out.
Yeah, but not as the revolving door that the running joke for the Batman universe is after Bruce's bats.
Tonight's the Night was episode 8.
There you go. So, I think having her still be alive sort of like diminishes the job she did in acting, like her swan song, where she finally confronts Jim, and Jim has to decide what he wants to do, and he decides to be good and not drop her. But she decides to go all the way down the road that she's on and lets herself go.
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of diminishes that impact. But what I found also...
But they already killed Jerome off, so they can't kill two semi-lead characters off this close together.
I think they can. I think they could do a lot of things.
At this point in time, she's not going to be in the picture because she broke everything.
Yeah.
but I don't think you'll see her come back until after the mid-season break.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the earliest.
Oh yeah, because even story-wise, there's no way she can come back before the mid-season break. I don't think she's going to make a return back. I think she may be patient zero for the what's that hill? I can't remember from
Indian
Hill, from the Indian Hill experiments.
Right.
So I think that would be good.
There has been whispers going around the intranet that she might wind up becoming the female version of Joker.
Yeah.
So, if she does become Patient Zero, or if she does wind up becoming a patient in Indian Hill, that might be what comes from that. I mean, she might be she's already psychologically on the edge, if not broken.
Yeah.
And this could just push her over.
Yeah.
And then she possibly Jeff Johns Flashpoint-esque takes on the mantle of the Joker. Maybe not calling herself the Joker, but taking on that persona.
Right. I mean, that would be definitely something that we've discussed before would be really cool, because it falls in line with the different play that they're doing on the universe. So, and I wouldn't actually have a problem with that, even though she's probably going to be like 45, when Bruce finally comes around, if they even decide to go down that route. But you know what? It's fine if she comes back as that.
This could be a first interpretation.
Right.
It's not the unknown gangster thug falling into a vat of acid Joker. It could be psychological. It could be like Red Hood. Anybody who puts on the hood is Red Hood.
Yeah.
So it could be that. It could be the first personification of the Joker.
Which would be fine. I would be fine with that. Some might have issues with that, but I'm fine with that. I mean, but again, I think it would have been just as simple and tidy and make as much sense to just have her die at that point.
Yeah.
So.
If not, show her dead. Show her in a body bag.
Right.
She doesn't actually have to die. She could just, on paper, die, wind up in Indian Hill.
Right.
That's kind of the way I'm leaning. I want to see her in Indian Hill. I want to see her as the female Joker. I'm not one person. I'm not the type of person to say that, because I like continuity throughout everything.
Right.
But I would like to see the female version of Joker, because Jeff Johns did it. No, it wasn't Jeff Johns that actually wrote that one. The Flashpoint Spirit of Vengeance was the book. I want to see that. I want to see a realistic, real-life version of that.
Well, I think on that note, Nok.
Yep.
We'll have to close out this episode of Signals from the Batcave. We'll have more for you soon. Sorry for the hiatus, but we're working out some stuff here so that we can get more regular recordings going. There may be more episodes coming shortly, but just hang in there and keep your eyes to the sky for the Bat Signal, and we will come back as soon as we're able.
And on that note, take it easy, everyone.